What is actually behind you? If you turn your green screen off, is it like green and then like where are you?
Hordes of girls. He's got hordes of girls. They're all lined up waiting for him.
Like a fucking Matt Rife
but-
gig.
I'm in a spare room.
rows and rows of cocaine.
Yeah, it's all there. Yeah.
Good for you, Gray.
I've got
get in the
I've
Quattro.
got me props. I've got me props like my pirate hat. I've got to get an international driver's license tomorrow as well. Just found out.
geez.
Can I ask a very, very important question? Highly political, very topical. Did you take your hat off for your international driving license?
Yes.
Graham's like the left wing Tim Pool. He's never seen her without his cowboy hat.
You see,
Here's a follow-up question. Would you ever take your hat off on a Labour social conference call like this?
no, God, no.
Okay,
it's
third
actually glued to
question.
my head. I can't.
Third
take it off.
question.
Oh, here we
Can
go.
you confirm or deny that you have a swastika tattooed across your head? Now, the gig economy is sort of the government's friend because as, Brexit decimates certain industries, others move their entire workforces over to Berlin and Paris. Maybe automation, AI and robots gobble up other jobs. Gig economy is right there to scoop up that labour force. I read a thing the other day that said there's never been so many people in work as there is right now. I was like, oh, well, amazing. Oh, that's good, yeah. Now tell us what kind of jobs they're doing. What are the biggest growth sectors? Where are the biggest jobs markets like booming in the UK? Take a wild guess. They always back criticism back like, oh, don't be so snobby about, what, you never delivered pizzas? You never worked stacking shelves somewhere? Stop looking down your nose at everyone. And this is my response to people like that. It's like, okay, all right. So if you think driving a Deliveroo bike around on minimum wage with no corporate benefits, no pension, and very little security, if you think that is such a promising role, how come none of the shadow cabinet or cabinet are doing it as their second job? Is Rishi Sunak responsible for the excess deaths? Like, at what point do we start throwing terms like criminal negligence around? Or are we supposed to just sit back and accept that tens of thousands of deaths were just a sort of policy we weren't totally on board with? Like, well, if you don't like it, vote him out. To what extent might Sunak soon be troubled by some of those lefty lawyers we hear so much about these days? Inquiry minds wish to know. I mean, honestly, like tens of thousands of deaths, a killer virus running riot, the army were called in, emergency Nightingale hospital sprung up. I mean, honestly, it's like watching a disaster movie, except like instead of having Independence Day with like loads of explosions or Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman in a race against time, the disaster is just a bunch of fumbling morons in ill-fitting suits making terrible decisions. Just overconfident cretins. So I'll be Prime Minister. A class of people who are so overconfident of their entitlement. If imposter syndrome came knocking at their door, they would be so unfamiliar with it, they could reasonably be fooled by an imposter. I mean, this could realistically be the first time that the father of somebody implicated in an inquiry takes evidence from the inquiry and uses it as his own evidence as a means of getting a refund. You're supposed to educate him, not turn him into a moron. Like, I think if there's anything that could be gleaned from the last decade, it's that you can definitely platform hugely problematic and politically incompetent people, and there are no downsides. So yeah, by all means, ITV, draw up his contract, get him in there, let's get this happening. What could go wrong? Nige declares jungle new White Town, claims political sovereignty, and sacrifices 3 contestants to the frog gods. Like, I don't want to criticize anyone who's, going after numbers. I mean, God knows I have tried to get viewers on this channel. Like, I have tried, guys. Frankly, it's a miracle that you're watching and listening to me saying this now, rather than you seeing me twerk. But isn't there some, vague sniff of broadcast responsibility to be addressed with this? Don't ITV have an ethics department? Isn't someone up in production going, look, Barrymore was a disaster. Schofield is, where is Schofield? Is he working again yet, or? He's interning. He's interning? Yeah, He's interning. Well, like, working somewhere for free. Yeah. You've had Barrymore, Schofield, the phone vote scandal, the Love Island suicides. Like, more people have killed themselves after appearing on Love Island than in the run-up to a mafia trial. I mean, like, just as a side note, like, it always makes me laugh, man. Like, when people complain about Love Island, they go like, how come it's always like a load of like hot 20-year-olds and stuff? Like, how come, like, what, like middle-aged people aren't looking for love? Why can't you do like a middle-aged Love Island? I'm like, you really want a bunch of 43-year-old men in there? Really? With this show's track record, you want the most kill yourself demographic out there.
Is he going to resign? Because this feels like to say something like that in Parliament, that feels egregious. That feels like that's. But then if he just held his hands up and he said, "All right, look, it was, you know, emotions run high. It's part of the cut and thrust and blah blah blah." Like Rob said, wanker. He said, stupid woman. We all get a bit carried away sometimes. If he had handled it like a man, like a grown up, then it could have been put to bed. It's the fact that he's lied.
Yeah. But the problem is he thinks he has handled it like a man by actually reducing his insult from hundreds of thousands of people down to just one, Alex Cunningham. And he seems to think that makes it okay because Stupid Woman was one woman, Theresa May. I don't know who Rob called a wanker. Who was that?
Keir Starmer.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But at least this is one person. One person.
Your reaction to that reminded me of that, like, I'm Alan Partridge scene where, like, he goes up to the counter and he goes like, some yobs have just graffitied my car. Have you got any idea what it says out there? And then the girl just goes, tosser.
Yes. What was that when I put
It is a bit weird, isn't it? What is the universe telling me?
That's
not weird. Come on, mate. I've had some. Have you not had any better coincidences than that? I'll tell you a boss coincidence, right? Like just before Wayne, right? Well, there's a couple. There's one where I got on a cruise ship that I managed to wangle a free ticket on off the coast of New Zealand. And on the first night I was there, I was walking through to the restaurant, and they said, "Oh, you're on your own?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you want to sit with people or do you want to sit on your own?" I said, "Oh, I'll sit with people." Sat down next to a woman who was British. She was from Liverpool. She wasn't just from Liverpool. She was literally from the road opposite me mum and dad's house.
Wow.
Fucking hell.
I can top that, actually. Right, so here we go. Are you ready? So years and years ago, I went to Australia and I was staying in a hostel in the Cross, in King's Cross in Sydney. And I got a job in a bar and I went down to this bar for my day shift. Got behind the bar. I'm just like cleaning up all of the taps and everything. Anyway, this guy comes in and I could like detect an accent. And he comes up and he like asks for a beer. And I start pouring the beer. And then I turn my head up like this. And I looked at him and I got talking to him. And then it turned out that both he and I had both fucked your mum, Gray.